Hello everyone. So today I'm doing a video a lot different than everything else I've ever done on this channel. I'm doing something heavily inspired by Chase, like chasing someone. Bridges, uh can I solve blank show or blank movie before the reveal? I'm pretty much doing this. However, the show's not fully out yet, because this is a Okay, it's really weird. I'll explain what this is. So it's a pretty much best way to call it is it's a show shot inside of Minecraft. It's based off of the show's called I mean it's on YouTube, so show series whatever the I mean it's cool. It's called Whitepine and there's currently 9 episodes and based on what happens at the end of the ninth episode, I think there's only going to be 10 episodes. So this video is going to have to wait until actually I might post it before. I don't know what I'll do because I don't know when White Pine 10 is going to come out. So, essentially, it's really weird to describe what the show is, but it's a show shot inside of Minecraft, and it's made by Ivory TV, formerly known as Mithrak. How the fuck do you even say that name? Mithrodac TV. Before they transitioned and swapped up their channel a lot. Um, you might know them as that person since that was, pretty famous as who they were. So I heavily suggest check, because this could be massive spoilers. Massive, massive. Go watch the fucking show. Do it. Right now. Now. Go. I'm gonna give you a few seconds to click off. You gone? The last warning. I'm not gonna warn you after this. Okay. So, essentially I'm gonna do this episode by episode. And I'm gonna be because I've already watched all these episodes. I'm gonna give them the very brief, rewatch. Um, so this is gonna be episode 1 portion. Uh, so episode 1 opens with I think actually all can see my mouse, but it opens with Ivory and Minitek, or just Minute as I'm gonna call them, as they're both getting on a train because, as explained in some of the extra stuff, Minitek found Ivory just she got the crap beat out of her somehow. I don't know, he found her injured in the woods. Minitek found Ivory injured in the woods and took her in pretty much. And now he's getting her a job with the at White Pine Estate. I can't remember the family's exact name, but it's not really important. And it's actually who these 6 people are. Yeah. Mr. Zombie, dad of the family. It's implied that the mom's dead. Alright. Then there's Pyro, who I believe to be the oldest son. Zam, who seems like he's the second oldest. Izzy seems to be the middle child. Moo and I think V might be a little younger, but Moo's kind of, I don't know. I don't know who's young out of the two of them. And Ivory, they get there, and Minute talks to Clown PS, who's kind of like I don't know, he hires Ivory because Minute's a good friend of the family, and then Clown then Minute leaves. He doesn't show up again. It's his one appearance. So that's who the family is. Then Clown hands Ivory off to Seraptor to show her around and do it. He then starts showing her how to dust stuff. She does not have a duster. I don't know why he didn't think of that, but he didn't. So then they go to the closet where Mr. Cat, let me tell you, there's a reason why she's in the center, where Mr. Cat is, and, talk to her a little bit. And then eventually, during, I'm assuming, lunch, all the staff, people down here, including people like Ashwag, Clown, I actually don't recognize any of these other people than just those 2 people. And Mr. Cat, and Straptor and Ivory are also there. This one other dude, who introduces, everyone gets introduced. Then stuff goes on, pretty much just Ivory's learning the ropes of the job. And as it goes on, Ivory is a very strange individual, cause what it is, she calls everyone Sarah and is like overtly polite to everyone, and she's very soft spoken, very. I don't want to say timid, but that's how her voice sounds. Um, and and I think it's implied that she's autistic, some kind of thing. So I'm thinking either autism, severe trauma, which is severe that she was found injured in the woods. Trauma is also a very likely thing. Oh, she does not even remember because she also has amnesia. And then towards the end of the episode, something crazy fucking happens. At the end of the episode, Mr. Cat is found dead, and I mean like dead. So first we hear two screams. Well, we hear a female scream, then another female scream. Then everyone rushes, and she's just dead in the main room, like dead. Her arm is torn off, and she is covered in blood, stab marks, like some kind of injury to the back of the neck, and she's at the bottom of the stairs. But believe me, this is so. I don't know if someone killed her and pushed her down the stairs, because believe me, none of these injuries are enough. And then another thing, and then okay, so that happens, and then the video just cuts. However, now time to go into the finer details. So nothing really weird happens, other than when Ivory and Clown are sorting the mail. They get a letter from the Honors Libertarian Libertarian Party. Fuck, man, I cannot speak. But, that's already a very weird-ass name, in my opinion. Because Honors, Libertarian Party, because I'm assuming that Edmonton sounds like a location. Honors Libertarian Party, because Libertarian makes you think political party. But then Honors political, like, that, I don't know what the hell that could mean. But Honors Party, that would make more sense. But Honors, I don't, like, both those words seem really weird to be put together. But Honors, H, and Libertarian, E, Libertarian, L, P, and Party, Party, P, that spells out H-E-L-P, or help. I do not like the sound of that. I don't know. That could just be okay. I'm not gonna kill myself. That's not an accident. That's intentional. I don't know who would be calling for help, but you know, and how? Because usually, okay, so that's like the really only weird thing that I would say happens in this entire episode. Because the murder happens at the end of the episode, so there's not a lot of information, unfortunately. Meaning, unlike what the dude does. I'm sorry, I already forgot his name. I have a really bad memory. Um, I'm not gonna lock someone in, as there's literally no evidence in this entire episode. But, because there's literally no evidence. Other than the help letter, there's nothing. But I do, so we can't really confirm anything. However, I do want to rule out one person that I know, because obviously Ivory, this is from Ivory's perspective. We know that Ivory did not do it. And because here's the thing. When you think of, a rich family with a lot of people working for them, you must think, wow, this family's complete assholes. Nah, all of them are actually pretty nice. Like, Zam says thanks to the servants, Pyro treats Mr. Cat really well, tells her she's fine, she's good, because he wakes up early because he's sick. He goes in the bathroom, throws up. So, just says you're fine. Pyro also kind of caught Sir Raptor and Ivory in a place where they were not meant to be and just did not care. There's not really much personality given to Moo, Vizzy, or Izzy yet. Izzy, I think I don't know. Izzy, that seems like a really weird name. I don't know if I misspelled that or something. But, yeah. I will because, you know, there's no information. So I'm not going to lock anyone in for this episode. I will for every other one. I promise. Because there's just nothing. Crime happens at the end. So, yeah. I will, you know, on to episode 2, because I'm going to very quickly do a minor rewatch of that. Alright, now for episode 2. So this follows the aftermath of the murder of Mr. Cat, obviously. And also, okay, I'm gonna tell you the more layout stuff. So the lines are important. They actually signify something instead of just connections. The colors is kind of telling you everything. So blue means positive relationship. So that's why there's like, you know, there's one between. I also swapped these two. There's a reason why there's like, a line between these two because these two are pretty good friends. Same with these. Purple means iffiness. I'll explain who the hell this guy is. And then red means hostile. Now you may be wondering, why? Why is Pyro and his dad the most hostile people here? I will explain that when we get to it. Have some fucking patience. Either way. So it opens with everyone being interrogated by Borm. Borm, that's just what I'm gonna call him because I cannot pronounce the second half of that fucking name. Um so he's interrogating everyone. And he's being he's being very pushy about it. I mean, more pushy than interrogation, because I think it's actually just meant to be more so of a questioning. But it's like he's being very aggressive and has to be calmed down by his partner, Recrap. Recrap only appears in this episode, so it's not worth putting him on the board. Um, I really only put people that appear a lot, but so that's because and he really hones in on Ivory because you know how I said that she acted weird. Same, and she also didn't really know Mr. Cass, so she wasn't like super. I mean, obviously someone fucking died, but like she wasn't like super devastated because didn't know her. And Born then immediately goes, that's suspicious as fuck. So he is her. She is his primary suspect now. The other staff, he was being really pushy. So, um, and then they then walk back to the place. Ivory and Strapta they actually see Strapta's house. Don't know if his family currently lives there because he said the house I grew up in. Then he mentions his family, so I don't know. That could be his old house, could be his new house. It could be old house, could be current house. It doesn't really matter. Well, where his family lives, they all live on the property. But then, oh yeah, and then after they get back, then cuts to the whole family having dinner. Sorry, I don't know if I've been calling V a girl this entire time. I think I might have said she. Because the actor's a girl, I think. It's a very feminine voice, I can't really tell. So whoops, might have accidentally been doing that. And, you know, and essentially, Pylan explains that ever since he was exposed, outed? No, outed. Yeah, I think outed. That his dad's been constantly hostile. And Izzy's like, yeah, old people like that. Doesn't say what he was outed for, but doesn't say what he was outed for. And we'll touch up on that later. And then it cuts to Ivory doing some work for Ash. Can't tell where he is in the staff photo, but he's the kitchen dude pretty much. He runs everything in the kitchen. And then after that, after she gets done helping Ash in the kitchen, which actually, another thing, which is why I think that, because I feel like it's implying that she, is autistic, because she sometimes gets, she wants to set up a routine, and when Ash gives her the same instructions over and over again, she's like, boom, 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 get it done, which is very common of artistic people. I know, because I am also an autistic person. If my ludicrous amount of Five Nights at Freddy's, like, literally behind me, this Five Nights at Freddy's poster. I made so many Five Nights at Freddy's videos. Yeah. It's also implied that, actually, I don't think that comes up this episode, but it's implied that he's autistic later in the series, so, that's nice. Um, and then once that gets done, Ivory replaces Mystic Cat as Pyro's assistant, which is like personal person. And then, uh, once that happens, she goes to the room and just does a bunch of stuff for him. Um, then Borm is on the property and asks her a few questions, asking why she's carrying a shovel, because for some reason they she needed a shovel to clear out cobwebs. I don't know why. Um, but either way, it seems stupid and practical. He doesn't believe it because let's be real, that does seem a little weird. Although it's not like she's got a. I mean, I guess she is missing an arm, but like there's not really anything to bury the cops out of the body. But yeah. Then he walks away. So once again, mystery doesn't really progress here because no one really acts off. Also, when they get back from the police station, um, straight up, one of the workers just gives someone else straight up, like, I don't know what they are, but it's implied to be some kind of drug. 'Cause I said, I just swallow these and I'll feel better. Yeah, that just sounds like drugs. That literally just sounds like drugs. So that's not amazing. Don't do drugs. So that's very bad for you. Don't do it. But with it also mentioned that because there's a bunch of woods surrounding at least there's a bunch of woods out back behind the Whitepine estate, and apparently a lot of people go missing. Says Ross, which is the dude in the overalls right here. Also, sorry if some of these screenshots aren't very good. The Ivory one's good, the Minitech one's good, the Pyro one's good. This cat photo's fine, so it's Raptors, Borm's pretty good. But like these three are kind of fuzzy, Zams is decent. This one's also kind of fuzzy. Um, I just had to take straight screenshots and did the best I could. Um, so once again, not exactly a person. Once again, there's just so little evidence in this episode. Because let me tell you, in this whole series, this mystery does not really get developed a lot. But the little bit that it actually does not really get developed. But the woods, a lot of people going missing in the woods is kind of weird. That's weird. Um, that's like super weird. But not really like a lot because there's not really any suspects that's ever brought forward. Because no, but if I had to lock someone in because we needed possible motivation. Who would have motivation to kill Mysticat? That is the number one question of narrowing down who committed a crime. Intention. Why? Oh, like, oh no, not intention. Motivation. Motivation. Who would want why would someone want to kill her? Now she's a personal assistant, and I don't know if that comes with like some special perks. As far as we can tell, it doesn't, since Raptor is Sam's personal assistant, and that just like doesn't. Nothing happens there. He doesn't seem to get any upgrades. But this episode was much less about the mystery and more so about introducing him. I don't know if you could tell how I said said him, but I do not like this dude for reasons that have become very obvious. Um, you know, but I feel like I can't really go 2 episodes a lot without locking someone in. So first of all, we could probably rule out the family because the family has no reason to. Um, Buster, since they all seem to have a good relationship with Pyro. Now, I feel like the only seemingly the only hostile relationship in the entire series. Um, it's a little weird. And, he's been hostile, despite the fact that Pyro apparently does a lot for the company that Mr. Zombie owns. That's, probably how they got so rich. But, really weird. But I feel like I gotta lock in. Geez, there's just like no evidence in this entire series. I feel like I gotta pick. Whew, yikes, this is definitely tricky. There's just like nothing. If I had to go out and say something, because Minut's not even here, so Minut's fully crossed out, because he left during not season, episode 1. Like, he assuming he got back on a train and left. So he's nowhere remotely close to here by the time of the murder. Ivory also, she's like visibly like once again protagonist. You see what she's doing. You see her rush towards the body. Like you hear the scream, like you watch her as because you hear presumably Mr. Cat screaming, then someone else screaming, probably the person that found the body. Um, so you see what she's doing at the time of the murder. Nothing. She's talking to Raptor in their shared room because they're bunking together. Um, so we know that's not Ivory. That also rules out Raptor as well. So these three completely impossible for them to kill. They're literally not even remotely near the house. We know exactly what they're doing, and um, that actually eliminates a lot of the staff too. Because hold up, I'm gonna count, not count, but just check who all rushes towards the body. Because you can, oh, crap. What if both the screams are just from the people that just found the body? No, but they would have to be relatively recent since it's in the main room. Yikes. That's also kind of tricky. Okay, I know I said I'll lock someone in, but there's literally no information here. You all can watch it. Well, you all have, but you all know. Alright, now on to episode 3. Um, yeah, episode 3 time. Okay, so, in the third episode, once again, not a lot happens. But it's mainly just Ivory and Pyro and, just doing this stuff. Ivory doing this stuff for Pyro as his personal assistant. Um, However, Emberton, which is, I guess, like the town closest, I didn't slip my mind. Ivory and Clown, they then go together to town to pick up a coffin and other shit. Coffin for, you know, uh, and then Ivory's like, "Hey, do you think there's someone on the estate happening?" And like, Sharp's is like, "No, no, no, no way, no way." Despite like everyone in this series is so stupid. Okay. Either way, I don't know. I've never been so rage baited by a fictional characters before. Like, oh, what do you mean you don't think that someone in the estate did whatever? Um, and then Zamden says, "Oh, I can. So you're Pyro's personal assistant. I can take you. You only got stuck with him because he's n nothing else. Nothing else." Then Pyro's like, "Okay, yep, we're leaving the room right now." And that is at this point him being outed for something that old people don't like, and him getting settled with a female maid. Because okay, I'm just gonna say it's heavily implied that Pyro is gay. That is why Mr. Cat and Ivory were picked, because assumingly, his dad does not want him like getting a crush on one of the workers. Um, but we're still looking for motive. Motive is the biggest thing that we're currently looking for, and currently there actively seems to be none. Because the only like hostile person here is Mr. Zombie, and he doesn't really seem to be doing much. He's only hostile with Pyro because, well, like I said, it's implied that he's gay, so I guess he's just like homophobic or something. Um, but yeah, so although there is, so it's also mentioned that Clown used to be a soldier, all right, and they also walk into a shop, and Radoons, and Radoons owns the shop, and him and Clown have known each other and fought in the war together. I'm assuming World War One, World War Two, because just where it takes place. Um, but yeah, mainly roughish that time frame. About think that World War One and World War Two happened 30-ish years between them. So there's probably an official date in one of the videos. I just don't remember. Um, it's actually kind of bad I don't give you every detail because some of these unanswered questions you guys gotta go. Like I don't even know why the fuck you're still watching it if you haven't watched Whitepine yet. Uh, but this is a once again, very tricky mystery because the mystery is like not really focused on. But now I so we got the woods that make people disappear. We got because of how badly she's torn up. Um, because oh yeah, and something big happens. So Ivory and Sir after they go up onto the roof because neither of them can sleep, and someone maybe and then someone comes up, it's like, just, hey, who's up here? Someone up here. They then climb in and actually climb to V's window. And he's like, what the fuck? And that's kind of where the episode ends. So I gotta I'm really want to lock someone in. Once again, there's just like no motive ever seen or like heard of in like these 2 episodes since the crime has been committed. There's been nothing, no hints, no nothing. Most of these hints are really well hidden because they've just all gone over my head. Um, over my head like the clouds. Oh, I do want to point something out. The crime seemed to have been a very like brutal, odds-off fueled by anger. All right, because she was really badly messed up. Like I said, missing arm, badly messed up, like bad. So who here? And it's not just these. There's other characters. Like, but as far as we could tell, the entire staff liked her. No one. Who here would be angry at Mr. Cat? Well, I feel like the only person that we've ever known to be hostile in this entire series, Mr. Zombie. Because he very clearly does not approve of his son's of his son being gay. I feel like that's got to have some kind of connection to this, because I don't know if like I can only think of one explanation, and it's no, but that would not even explain the murder though, because like no one here has any motivation at all to kill someone. no one's come off as suspicious. Like, there's not even been any red herrings either. Because red herrings, pointing out obvious red herrings is like the easiest way to eliminate people. But there's been no red herrings, no hints. One of the only small details that could be used is a letter with an anagram for help. But like, that does not tell us shit. Especially since that was before the crime was even committed. So, hold up. Okay. I think I got the first piece of the puzzle down. Alright. So, hear me out. Someone sends a help letter. A code for help. To the, uh, mansion. But Clown immediately, like, the moment he hears it, takes it. Like, here, well, let me have that. And then, like, next day, someone ends up dead. So I don't know if, like, Clown got that letter, and it was like, I don't know who would be asking for help right now. But I don't know if that's someone asking for help, and that somehow spiraled into him having to kill Mr. Cat, or him giving it to someone like Mr. Zombie. Actually, Mr. Zombie. So I feel like the only two people that it could physically be is Clown or Mr. Zombie that killed her. Because I don't know. I feel like the help letter's gotta have something. But I'm gonna lock in Clown. I'm gonna lock in Clown currently. Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna lock in Clown. Because Clown plays a lot of villains and stuff, and I do know that's mainly because he's good at the game, but I don't know. That might be... Oh my god, he's a red herring. No, red herring's my ass. Clown's meant to be the red herring. He's gotta be Mr. Zombie, then, in that case. Because... Unless if I'm completely wrong about this entire thing. Unless I'm just yapping about nothing, but okay. I'm gonna lock in Mr. Zombie, actually. Yeah, no. I'm gonna lock in Mr. Zombie. Alright, I'm gonna watch episode 4 right now. My lock-in's Mr. Zombie. Alright, everyone. I just watched episode 4. Um, and pretty much, once again, nothing too big happens with the actual mystery. Although, uh, it's set the day before Mr. Cat's funeral. So, episode 5 is mainly her funeral. And, that, so she then runs into town, runs out of town, just kind of like down all over the place. And turns out that he's planning to blow up a little tiny shed that's like barely holding on, and like it's basic stuff. And also some like client of the families, some stuff, it's like just very important person stops by, and their driver does not have a place to stay. So Pyro offers that he could just stay in his room for the night. And yet another implication that he's gay. So it's pretty obvious at this point. Yeah, no, this was what originally tipped me off. I was like, because I didn't get it until now. Now I get it. Like when I was originally watching, like, what is going on? Like just over my head. But now it makes a lot of sense. Now I'm gonna have to explain what's up with Borum, because Borum I feel like is the main piece, because he's low-key just around, like he's just in the fucking background, just stalking Ivory. Like the creepy fuck he is. And then he then confronts her, freaks her the fuck out. She then backs into Zam's room, stays there. Zam then gets him to go away. And then she's then seen throwing up into the throwing up in the shower. So that's wonderful. Um, this person, Lopez, actually, then comforts her, blah blah blah, same crap. You know, pretty basic stuff. But the thing with Born was like the main thing, and also turns out that Pyro is just kind of like better at running the family business than Mr. Zombie currently is, because they're a business partner, who because a business partner who's played by Tommy in it. So Tommy, he's like, okay, yeah, no, you're like, I can't believe that your dad says that you're not ready to run the company anymore, like yet. So I feel like that shows that he's just better at running the company. Um, so out of everyone on this board, I just feel like I just want to knock some things out. Anyone on this side of the board, I don't think that could kill him. Because, first of all, we know that could not have been these four. Because, when we know that at the very least the body was found around this time. I think it's also when, it's got to be pretty soon after she was murdered. So, especially since these two have been hanging out most of the day. So we know it can't be them. Minutes off his house, wherever he found Ivory. And Prometheus, well, he is suspicious as fuck. He's not suspicious of this. I don't know. He seems like he's doing this generally because he thinks that Ivory's a murderer. Just wrong person. Heart's there. Just definitely breaking some laws by doing this shit. So he's mainly the same thing. But still not any. Although there's another thing. So I'm thinking that maybe Pyro and Mrs. Zombie got into like an argument or a fight or something, and like you know, it was pretty bad. And then Mr. Cat tried to like maybe I guess like call Zombie out or something, and then one thing led to another, dead person. Cause literally I can think that Miss Zombie's the only person here with any reasonable thing, any reasonable like. It's the only thing I can think of. But yeah, I'm gonna once again keep my lock on Mrs. Zombie. Because I think it was him, because, I don't know, I feel like it's the only person here that I could really see doing it. Sorry if this episode was a little rough. I'm being intentionally very vague, because once again, watch this show, and if you've already watched it, but you can't remember what happens in it, watch it again for a second time. I'm just, I'm doing this on the weekend, so I've got all this stuff I gotta work on, so I'm kind of like, I don't want to say rushing through this, because it's gonna take long no matter what, but, you know. Especially since a lot of the episodes like a half an hour long each, so this would. Besides, I've already seen the entire show. But yeah. For episode 4, I'm locking in Mrs. Zombie again. I'm keeping my shit on him. All right. So this episode, Mr. Cat's funeral finally happens, and as you notice, I added Ash. Um, because he's slowly in more and more episodes. Just figured, might as well. He's to the point where he's even in the thumbnail. Uh, so might as well have him on here. Also, damn, that Loki might be the best picture I got of them, other than maybe. Actually, yeah, no, that's definitely the best picture I got of them. The other ones are kind of blurry or fuzzy. Number one, Ivory, Minute, and Sir after photos are fine. So it's photos, but either way, um, like, Miss Gat's funeral takes up like the first half of it. Then they go out to dinner, and then once again, it actually gets confirmed that he's gay, saying, "Have you caught him with any?" They call him Fruity. Have you caught with any? Has he? And they ask Ivory if she's seen him with any dudes. Um, so after then tells tells that person to not do that, or was it Serapta that asked a question? Let's just. This is what I hate about my short ass memory. I literally just watched watched it like five. My memory's chopped, bro. It's chopped. I'm cooked. But yeah, that happens, and then they eventually go back to the mansion, and the driver for the dude just quits. Just quits. He just quits. Um, and um, then Borum enters. The Borum walks up to Moose saying, "Hey, have you seen anyone acting a little sus?" Or AKA unofficially grilling her about Ivory. And he then eventually leaves, and that's where the episode ends. So the stuff with Borum, I don't think that Borum killed her because first of all, he's a cop. Second of all, no motivations to speak of. Although granted, if episode 10's gonna be the last episode, stuff with either way. It's actually probably gonna be the last section I record to this day. I'm probably gonna do the other 4 episodes tomorrow. I mean, it won't make any difference for you guys, but then essentially that's where the episode ends. And I'm still locking Mr. Zombie. Oh, I don't think I mentioned who I was locking. I don't know. I still have literally no better option than Mr. Zombie, because he also does seem to. He's like, everyone get all, because when he goes to enter, because when the important person's coming to enter the building, he's like, okay, straighten up, everybody, get perfect, and I want you to, and like, look happier. And that attitude just screams, "Oh, yeah, no, he would not mind it. He would not be killing himself with grief, or just absolutely the grief would not be killing him if he murked one of his employees. Because very clearly, with that attitude, yeah. But yeah. So, ooh, sorry about that. I had to yawn. Um, I'm still going for Mr. Zombie because I still think he's the best option. The only option. There's no other evidence. Alright, everyone, that is gonna be it for this part. I'm gonna, well, obviously tomorrow, maybe today, I don't know. But yeah, it's gonna be the end of this section. Gonna do episode 6 now. Not like now. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Hello, everyone. So, what happens in episode 6? So, once again, brief overview from next day. Yeah. So, Ivory and Saraptor, they're up on the roof again. Well, they usually are. But they see Bit, this person up here, uh, to the right of Minotaur, left is Raptor, and above Ivory. They just see her leave in the middle of the night, just wearing clothes that they've never seen her wear before. Which, that's a little weird. And then it cuts to Pyro, Zolester, which he is not on here. Actually, because he's not really that big of a character. Because once again, I included the family because they're all decently sized cat. I mean, other than Izzy, but if I was get the whole family. Ash also talks decently, especially in the next episodes. Clown, one of the first main characters. The whole story does not make obviously main people. This bitch, murder victim, the staff. Oh, what the hell did I just do? Uh, Ignore that. Whoopsies. Uh, and um. And then, they're talking, and Pyro drops a cup, and Ivory brings him some coffee. Then he, accidentally drops the coffee and offers clean up, but Ivory just does it, because, Um, and then Moo was like, because when the detective questioned her during the end of episode 5, he just framed it as, like, just checking up or on a walk. But Moo's very suspicious of that shit for obvious reasons. Um, and then, and then it And then the next thing that I really want to remark about is Zam and Moo are talking and walking, and then Moo starts crying. and then after, because this series has multiple points where it just like flashes, like where it just like cuts to multiple different rooms, like kind of flashes in multiple different rooms. During one of these flashes, you can hear Pyro crying in presumably his room, because the layout of this house is so fucking weird because you don't get any continuous shots, like really at all. So you do not know the layout of this fucking place. It's about as best way to put it is imagine if a show was shot through the cameras of like Five Nights at Freddy's, pretty much. Like you really only have a few fixed camera angles that you see shit through, and no continuous shots. So it is weird as shit. And I think that really helps. I think that's like intentional to keep this house being even all the more like expansive and big and weird and a little creepy. Um, and you could hear Pyro crying in his room because his friend just fucking died. Um, and then Miss Zombie just like hears it, stops at his door, then just walks away. Terrible dad move, I feel like that if you hear your son crying, especially since he's already quote unquote he's practically a fossil, and that comes from his fucking daughter. So if it's one of his kids saying it, then damn, then you fucking know that it is. Especially since all the people are adults. I think at least. Because Pyro's definitely an adult, Sam's definitely an adult. Izzy, I feel like most likely is. Moo and V, and I think that V's also an adult. Just I think that V's the youngest, so he's like a little more. I don't want to say like babied, but kinda by their dad, and that gets on his nerves a little bit. But and the detective brings in all the maids for questioning, and is super super fucking hostile to Ivory the entire goddamn time. Yeah. Um. Like constantly thinking that she's lying to him, asking her like, did she bring any weapons, anything at all? And this is when it's confirmed that Ivy lost her memory, so she does not remember shit before Minute found her, which is not that long before the series started. Um, and then V, um, asks Ivory for some help because they're kind of like V's sort of blackmailing Ivory, but in like a more like friendly way. I don't know. The relationship between these two is so scuffed because it's like it's friendly, but also is kind of built on blackmail. Um, and then V and Ivory blow up a shed. Actually, I think it was a barn, but like I think they called it a barn, but it's like so tiny that's practically just a shed. Um, you know, they blow it up, and that's kind of where the episode ends. So, who do I think did it? I feel like Mrs. Zombie, once again, not caring about his son crying is really, just like he could not care because he could just be a piece of shit that doesn't like his son. Um, but also, you know, could not care because maybe he fucking murdered her. I don't know. Although, granted, he is an old ass man, so I don't know if he could even kill someone. Shit, I never brought that into consideration. No, I honestly really thought that the mission would have been a bigger part of the show when I first started watching. No, the show's still really good. And, yeah. No, Bit leaving in the middle of the night, that's suspicious as shit. Uh, but also doesn't really, like, this is at this point probably a few weeks after the murder, I believe. So, I don't know why. Though, like, I don't know what the purpose would be. So, I feel like that's probably connected to something. I mean, I know it's connected to something else, but even when I did initially watch this my first time, it didn't really mean anything because this is weeks after the murder happening. Like, what could she possibly be doing? But I'm still gonna have to keep my lock on. I still feel like it's gotta be Mr. Zombie. I feel like it's what's building up. He's the only character that I would classify as being, like, mean, other than Borm. But then again, Borm's really only an asshole to Ivory because, he thinks that she's a fucking murderer. Um, you know, because Clown in this one's completely fine. I know that when you think of murderous psychopaths in Minecraft, he's usually one of the first people to come to your mind. Um, so it's not these two. And it's not him because he's long gone at this point. Don't think it's him because he's like really passionate about this. So unless if he's doing some grade A lying. But, I'm gonna keep my lock on Mrs. Zombie just because I have no better idea. Because this mystery is not really all that developed. Alright, guys, now on to episode 7. Now, this is by far my favorite episode of the entire show. And you may notice that there's first of all one new picture and a line's color has changed. Yeah, Div and Ross now, they've been predominantly, they've been like supporting character. Once again, there's just too many members of staff that I can include them all. Because as you all can tell, there's barely any open space. They're absolutely crowding it. But you also notice that now, this line is dark red. And I'll explain why that is later. So, the episode, as it goes on, the episode opens with Vic going to a theater going by Bidaughter. Alright, and, like, wearing dude's clothing, and so, it's implied that she's either trans, or, like, non-binary, or, something like that. Um, and then, a good chunk of the episode was, Kanji, who is not up on this board. I guess I could change that. Alright, I had to squeeze him in over there. He's a little raccoon fella. You know that his name's off to the side, and I tried to make it so all their names were above them, but I couldn't really do that without blocking off lines and stuff, and, because I don't want these images to be, like, super small. And Kanji needs a raise because his dad's in the hospital, and boy, those those hospital bills are killing him, bro. So, so Izzy asks for a raise, and, you know, but, he then gives it to him, and then Kanji kind of needs, because, like, it's still not enough, because, hospital bill's crazy. The Mrs. Zombie threatens to fire him if he ever asks him or his children for money ever again. So that's what's with the red line. Then, after that, um, so off screen, this happens off screen, but, Izzy kind of like storms in the library mad because her sleeves are rolled up, and Zombie told her to roll sleeves down since they're not ladylike, I guess. And then Pyro decides not to go to a banquet that they're currently holding. You know. And then Ivory goes into town with clowns. They stop Ivory doing the shop again. It's not said anything because it's one of those like silent sections where it just cuts between stuff. And it turns out that the detective has been literally fear-mongering the entire staff about Ivory. So, that's not good. So, that's not good. And then they, and then Ivory tells Raptor that the detective's been pretty much stalking her. And then, and Raptor's like, okay, I believe you. I don't think that she would kill someone. Um, I'll stay with you. I'll beat anyone up that tries to mess with you. Then Clown tells the staff members to knock that shit off. Because, that's obviously very mean. And then Borm comes... Actually, you know what? This is actually something... This is actually why the line is crimson, actually. Because... he needs to ask her more questions. So she hops in his car, but instead of driving down to the station, drives out to the woods and does something bad shit insane. Like, hold up, I gotta do something. Okay, this may be a lot to take in, but he full scale beats the shit out of her. Cause like you can see him walk over to his trucks, put on gloves, then he starts asking for a confession, and when she doesn't, it actually cuts to animation. Because this is mostly a machinima, but also sometimes there is... Actually, was there fluid animation before this? But either way, in like fluid like animation, he then full like reels his arm back, then punches her, and then like, and it was only on screen for like a second. Then next thing we know, she's limping back to the mansion, covered in blood. And then she walks in, just stands there because she's probably she probably has a... Actually, it is later said that she does have a concussion, so she's got a concussion. Just limped her way back, which must have taken a while. Um. And then uh. So he's and then she cleans up, um, and then they call a doctor, and everything. But one thing is that because everyone went to the banquet, all right, everyone went, other than Div, Ross, Ivory, and Pyro. But Div, at the very least, Ross saw her get into the car, but said that he didn't said that he didn't see anything. So and the family talks about it, obviously. So now, um, I don't think it's directly said in this episode since Raptor's not in here, but Raptor, let me tell you, now, Raptor hates the dude, Pyro hates him, Zam straight up calls him scum. So, that's pretty funny. That's why there's so many goddamn red lines coming off this dude. This guy has no positive relationships other than Rekrap, who's not even that much of a notable character. That's why he's not even on the fucking board. He appears for a little bit in episode 2, and that's it. After that, he did not appear once, so that's why I didn't bother putting him on the board, because there's already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Wait, no. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 17. There's 17 people on this goddamn board. Plus a giant picture of the staff. But, yeah. And they all decide to give the workers their vacations just so they can make sure that he doesn't come back, make sure that everything's safe and sound. So, yeah. Actually, oh my god, I just realized, because originally it started out as just Minute, Ivory, Mr. Cat, Staff, Seraptor, Clown, Pyro, his kids. Now we've added Form, Divin Ross, Bit, Ash, Kanji, I think that's how you say his name, plus a few pictures. So that's how that happens. And once again, while this, I feel like I don't know if it's meant to lead you into believing that he's the killer, but once again, he's doing this because he straight up just thinks that, I mean, unless if this is but even then, he has no motive, and he doesn't even appear until after the murders occurred. I think it's gotta be someone in the mansion, because else just who? But, yeah, now on to episode 8. Second last episode that's currently out. Alright, everyone, now for episode 8. Um, so, first of all, the episode opens with Shrapta is absolutely pissed at the detective. That's why, that line is now Crimson. Because he said, if I get my hands on him, I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind while punching the air. So, violence. And then it cuts to a zombie and Zoe. Between you and me, I'm not gonna be able to pronounce that fucking name. So they're talking, and it turns out that Mrs. Zombie only gives like his workers like one break over a 10-hour shift. Keep in mind, labor laws at this point in time do not exist, because fuck them, that's why. And then the workers leave on a train to head over to Red Hill. And then it cuts to Clown and Ash, because Clown, Ash, and I think Div are the only workers that stayed behind. Wait, no, not Div. Ross, my bad. Ugh. Because Div is on the train. But, and Clown finds the attic open. But Ash does not go into the attic. He then goes in and sees someone, which seems to trigger his PTSD since it's mentioned that Clown used to be a soldier. So, stuff like that. He then grabs a sword, and when Ash goes up, he then walks up to him with the sword. He doesn't seem like super, super hostile, but Ash calms him down, and uh, then Ash blames Clown on seeing someone as just him having another episode, and Clown's like, what if the murderer's still here? Said, the police would have found them when they searched the place. And then Clown's like, the police did not do shit. Which, that's a very important lesson, saying that they did not thoroughly check the house. That is more than mildly concerning, but other than, so, like, I have a feeling that there was 100% someone up in that fucking attic. So, I feel like someone was up there, but neither of them thought it. And then, they talk about them seeing Bit and everything, and oh, check. Um, and turns out that Bit is non-binary, and she's super worried about, and they are super worried about people finding out. And then they talk to V, and I just gotta say something. Yeah, no, V's 100% autistic, cause in my experience, both being an autistic person and being friends with the two autistic people, well, actually being friends with more than two, just two were were the people off my head. Um, yeah, no, the behavior that they show very similar to autistic people because I'm autistic. I'm friends with like four autistic people. You know, also Zolester, Zol. I'm just gonna call him Zol. Zol is rummaging around Zombie's office and grabs a random ass piece of paper. We do not know what's on this piece of paper. Then the workers go to the beach and Ivory talks to Moo a little bit and just, nice friendly conversation. Then Sarepta, Ivory, and oh my god, I butchered how do I butcher the spelling of Ivory? I gotta slow down when I type, bro. Um, they go exploring and find a random shed. They do not go inside, which is really weird because keep in mind, this is in Red Hill, which you gotta take a train to go to, and I don't think that this is where Minute is. Because I feel like if they were close by to where Minute was, um, Ivory might have wanted to, like, go say hey to him. I don't know. Minute seemed to be, like, one of the few people that she's, like, actually pretty comfortable around. Um, and then Kanji apparently randomly disappeared. But, when it gets brought up, he just comes back. So that's kind of weird. They then walk back and, blah, blah, blah. The episode ends. So, Zolast is being weird. And I don't know if that, because there's only really one plot important, well, seemingly plot important piece of paper, and that's the help letter from the start of the video, from episode 1. So that could be that could be seeing what in the hell that is. I feel like it's got to be connected to that because it's the only other piece of paper that seems to be relevant. So yeah. But I'm still keeping it on Mr. Zombie because because not only does he seem to not really care about his workers, and he also seems to, like, I don't know. He's hostile with his son, who's best friends with this person. He also does not really seem to, like, he does not seem to treat his workers very well. Um, so, it's just, like, more stuff that implicates him. But I'm still really curious about what the hell that piece of paper is. I don't know. We'll see. Now, on to the last episode. That's currently out. Alright, everyone. Episode 9. The second to last episode. And actually the last episode for this video. Because I'm gonna probably do a video leading up to this. Second to, like, I'm gonna... Okay, but either way, what happens in episode 9? The workers get off the train and they walk back to Whitepine because, they just got back from it. Well, actually, a few of them driving a car. And, her and Pyro walk in, they're talking. They also say that, and because of how nice everyone's been to, Ivory when she was injured, when the detective assaulted her, um, she wants to pay for a catered meal, but Pyro's like, nah, you chill, I'll just pay for it. Then he mentions that he forgot something in the store, then he walks back, and then Ivory follows him and sees him crying. She comforts him, and, everything's fine. Then we cut the Clown, and he goes up into the attic, grabs the sword that he pulled on Ash when he saw someone up in the attic, and then straight chucks that shit into the goddamn forest. Then the staff eats the catered meal, and they just have no idea who paid for it, because Ivory hasn't told them. And then Ivy walks out, because there's a lot of people, walks out, and finds Div humming in the woods. And it turns out that Div is a pretty mean person. Alright. Turns out that his house was, everyone was pretty much just a jackass to everyone. He got out of the situation, but, it still has affected who he is. And he wants to change, but he's kind of struggling with it. So, you know what? That's the thing. And then Ross brings her another flower and apologizes for, when the detective took her. He saw, but didn't say anything because he was worried that he was going to get fired. And then Ivory and Serapta are up on the roof like they usually are, and Serapta's like, boy oh boy, I wonder who paid for that meal. And then Ivy's a terrible liar, so he's like, okay, yep, nope, I knew. And then, they're talking, and then, Clown's in the kitchen, and then Ash rushes up, and someone bashed the fucking boiler. Like, whole thing's ruined. And then Zombie tells Clown not to call the cops, despite the fact that there were hammer marks in the fucking metal of the goddamn boiler. And then, weird shit happens. V and Redunes, they do something really weird. Oh my god, there's not even space. I'm gonna have to rearrange so much stuff. Okay, but this is important. This is kind of the crux of what of my new theory. So, I'll quickly pull up the picture. They dig up a chest in a snowy mountain. Keep in mind, we've never seen these two interact before. Like, obviously, V's a big character, and Redunes has shown up a few times. Granted, only like 2 times, and had only a few lines. One time he was completely silent during the second town run between Ivory and Clown. First time he only spoke a few sentences, and that's how we figured out that Clown fought in a war. But other than that, this dude's never appeared, and V has never interacted with him. And they then remark, wow, it's still intact. Whatever the fuck this book is, it's been buried for a while. Then, you know, let's see. Zombie, Pyro, Zam, Zoe are all talking and eating. Then Clown rushes in, tells them that they found, that the cops found the killer. And assuming that they got the right person, that would mean that it can't be Zombie, can't be Pyro, can't be Zam, can't be Zoe. And Zombie was who I low-key thought it was this entire goddamn time. So I do not know who it could be at this point. But I feel like basing off of this, Zombie's still acting really weird. Because, like, why would he not want them to call the cops? That is the main thing that's super weird about this. Like, that's very clearly intentional sabotage. But yet, he just doesn't want them to call the cops. Which is really... which is really weird. But Zombie's hiding something, I think. Zombie's very clearly hiding something. Whatever that something is, I think it's connected to the help letter on that piece of paper. But then what the fuck is this book? So, my prediction. V and Radoons buried this seemingly a few years ago. And then, based off of the timing, whatever the fuck this book is, was the evidence needed to bring in whoever the hell killed Mr. Cat. But that still leaves the question of what the fuck is even in the book. Because the points of evidence is that we know that whoever the hell... Because we know that the murderer must have been... Because someone was hiding in the attic. So, we can easily eliminate... Okay, so... I'm actually going to currently... Essentially... I'm going to color... I'm going to use a color system. From green, from like dark green being like fully cleared. Bright green being not really sus. Yellow being, orange being kinda sus. And then red being really sus. And I'm going to color someone's name black. For who I think did it. Hello, everyone. So, I'm actually doing stuff a little differently than what I said I would. Because this is not every character. Again, I feel like that the killer's probably on this board. But I'm not quite sure. So, in case if I fucked up and missed someone. You see, there's three main mysteries. The main one being who killed Mr. Cat. But there's two other ones. Who was in the attic that Clown saw? Because, well, he saw something and you can hear a faint door opening. And who smashed the boiler? Those three mysteries, I feel like... I don't know. Because green means you're accounted for. Nothing, and you know, if your name is highlighted in green, you're good. We know that you cannot have done this. If your name's not highlighted, then we don't know. I feel like that whoever did this, their name is not highlighted on any of these. So, red ones are the people who are not accounted for any of them. Now, you know how I said that? Because you see, I was going off the assumption that they had the right person, but I still think that's true. But by that meaning, it would have had to have been Izzy, which... While that's not impossible, it seems improbable. feel like this book's important. I think that this book is the evidence that the cops used to arrest the killer. Which is why Radoon, despite the fact that he was never accounted for any of them, is his name is not even highlighted. His name is colored green. Because while we don't know so, I feel like Radoon's. Ultimately, this mystery is definitely a hard one for the first one I've ever tried to solve. But this is the new name list. So I feel like it can only be Pyro, Izzy, Zombie. Technically, it could be Radoons, but I heavily doubt that. Or Zolest. I don't. Zol. I'm just gonna call him that because I can't pronounce his name. But I think I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna check one more thing. Okay. So you may be wondering, why is there ain't a picture of Pyro on here? Because there's one thing. When Clown tells everyone that they found the killer, instead of reacting like, "Oh my god," because keep in mind he was very close friends with Mr. Cat since he was his personal assistant. So you would think that he'd be like, "Yes, finally, the person that killed my friend can be brought to justice," or "Yes, fine," you know, ecstatic, shocked. I mean, he could have. I mean, but this is a weird form of shock. It's just he just stares at the camera while his ears start ringing. I don't know why. So that's a little weird. Ultimately, he would have no motive. Because keep in mind, this was not some fucking accident. Like, if you look, her arm's fucking missing, and there are stab wounds everywhere. This was no accident. This was no snapping. I mean, you could have snapped, but I cannot imagine someone snapping so bad, like just in the heat of the moment, just killing someone that violent. Because her arm is gone. How the fuck do you do that? If I had to guess, oh god, cutting off someone's head with a knife, that must be hard. My assumption would have to be an axe, because when Borum is interrogating Ivory, said, "Did you bring a knife? Did you bring any sharp weapons, like a knife or a axe?" But she does very clearly have stab wounds in her, so I'm thinking that the killer had both. So I don't know. Maybe for like, oh, I didn't change up that because I just duplicated the slides. But for all I know, these could all be different incidents, completely unrelated. I mean, obviously not completely unrelated, but like, Mr. Cat's murder could be one thing, and then whoever is in the attic could not even be the murderer. It could be Borm just snooping around again, and like whoever, and like, and like whoever smashed the boiler could be someone like Kanji, or like Kanji, and who just fucking got pissed off at Mr. Zombie because he threatened to fire him. But like, for Zolest, for Zolester, for Zolest, I think that's how you say it. For Zolest, there's no motive. With Zombie, I could kind of see a motive. Pyro, there's this like an anti-motive, and he's constantly fucking crying. Granted, that could have been out of guilt, but like the brutality of it made me think that like, plus he is seemingly far from an angry person. I don't think that this... I don't even know if this mystery is possible to solve with how little information we're given. The only two people I could imagine... Because I have to even assume that this is the same person. These could, once again, like I said earlier, they could just be different three people. Someone could have killed Mr. Cat. Borm could have been sneaking around in the attic. Because, okay. For who I think killed Mr. Cat... Okay, this depends. So, if they've got the wrong person, and who they currently have in custody is not the right person, then I'm still sticking with my theory that Zombie killed Mr. Cat. However, if they do have the right person, it's not Zombie, then I'm out of ideas. Don't think it's Dunes. Don't think it's V. I don't think it's Moo. Because she's, like, physically upset by seeing the body. Because Zam talks about hunting, but she was the one that found the body, so that's obviously, like, a trauma reminder. And besides, the siblings all seem to care about each other. I doubt that any of the siblings would actually kill someone, kill one of their siblings' friends. I just don't see it. I just don't. Because would not. Because okay, these all people that were in the kitchen. Because also I messed up. I misattributed when the screams happened. I don't know why I misremembered them so badly. But it was when they were sorting the mail, and it was just seconds after they got the help letter. Well, the anagram for help letter. That's not. You all don't really need to be reminded of that. Sorry for me. I've been recording this over the course of 2 days. But don't think it was Raptor. Don't think it was Ross. Don't think it would be Pyro, Zamu, Izzy V. There's no motive to speak of for any of these people other than Zombie. So if they have the right person, then I have no idea. If they have the wrong person, then I think it's Zombie. And for who I think could have been in the attic, I feel like Borm would probably have been the one in the attic. You know that he's been stalking around the place. And for who could have... Ultimately, I don't think that I don't think that the secret's even solvable. I don't even think it is, honestly. With all the vagueness, the layout of the house not being known. I mean, you can piece it together, but piecing something together knowing it's very different. I don't think that this mystery is solvable currently. Because I don't think that Borm killed Mr. Cat. I know that we technically don't know. But I don't think that's... Borm's antagonistic role is not meant to be the murderer. Like, narratively, they're meant to be two different things. Is he gonna count for anything? So ultimately, I have to place a bet on someone. I feel like they have the right guy. So it can't be... I swear to God, is it Izzy? I think I gotta lock in Izzy, though, unfortunately. I don't know what the hell the motive could possibly be, but we do know that she's getting sick of Zombie. She's shown no ill will to anyone, but I guess I gotta lock Izzy in as my guess. Because at this point, this is more of a... I mean, it's like an educated guess. Oh my god. So, Izzy. However, also, in case if this is all just three unconnected, I mean, obviously they're not fully unconnected, but if this is just three different people that did three different things, my bet for who smashed the boiler had to be once again, I have a feeling that all three of these are just the same person. But if they're three separate people, I feel like, no, I'll just make a new slide, show you all what I mean. Alright guys, this is my, this is my who did it slide. If the three incidents are the same person, it has to be Izzy. Because, okay, if they have the, because if they're the same person, it's gotta be Izzy. If they're separate, the murderer is Mr. Zombie. If they have the wrong person, and if they have the right person, and it's separate, I just have no idea. I don't know who it could be. I hate to say that, but person, and if they're separate, the person in the attic was Borum. He likes snooping around, and I feel like if they're separate, the person that smashed the boiler was Kanji, just because I feel like he got the best motivation. But yeah, that is what I think happened. That's me dissecting the mystery of Whitepine. Damn, this is actually gonna be like probably the longest video I've ever made. But hey, let's see how this does. I hope this video does well. But thank you all for watching. And hey, if you like this video, I'll do more mystery stuff. Granted, um, hey, I want everyone to look at this, to look at how this looks, and look at how it was in the beginning of the video. It's pretty bad. Well, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Keep on fighting, never surrender.